tanto jugando suelto como en competición. Tanto si se trata de un rápido 9 hoyos o de un gran 36. Tanto si juegas bajo presión o arrasando, siempre das lo mejor de ti. Nuevo fuel de FootJoy.
Here with Sophia Popov at the Palos Verdes Championship presented by Bank of America. Let's start with the most obvious thing. Got the USC connection. We were up the road in proper LA last week. We're down here in Palos Verdes Estates this week. You're kind of a hometown hero here, at least for USC fans. What's it been like being back here in your old stomping grounds?
It's been actually really nice. I think, especially for me, I've come off a few weeks where I've just not been playing my best golf, and to come out here a few days early and seeing some of the members that I haven't seen in a long time. I used to straight out of college. I worked with Jim Gormley, the head pro here, and I came down quite a few times, and I've stayed with a few members, and yeah, it's weird. It's kind of my home course when I'm here in LA, and it's been really nice. We did a clinic on Sunday with a lot of the members, and just to see them all again, and they always come out for the college event, the Northrop Grumman, and so it's nice just to have some, not just SC support, but just the members from PV.
Is there anybody that you really wanted to see that you did get to see already this week?
I think just in general, it's fun to see Jim, obviously, here, and he said it's weird to have a tournament like this in his backyard, because we obviously always had the college event here every year, so he's used to that one. And now to see a bunch of the girls that played that college event to play this LPGA event is cool for him to see. And then, no, I think just in general, some of the members and the staff that work here. A lot of them still work here. It's been about 8 years since I graduated, so that's always fun.
Well, let's even talk about that. I mean, doing some research, finished second here, finished seventh here, had another top 10 here. I mean, you really like this golf course. It seems like. What is it about Palos Verdes Golf Club that really sets up for you? I
just think I always liked it, and I think due to the conditions too. I think a lot of girls will say this was one of the toughest events they played during college, just because it was always cold. We played it in February. It was always cold and windy, and it's fun. I think you have to really think your way around the golf course. It's not just straightforward. You need to know where to miss the shots into the green. You need to know where to miss your drives if you do miss them. And I think that's just something that I like to do. I like to think my way around a golf course. I don't love golf courses that are extremely low scoring, and this was never a low scoring event. I think every year, if you finished under par, you were finishing top 10 usually, just because of the weather conditions. And I think that's something that just set up well for me. And then obviously it being kind of a home event for us. And just having the home field advantage with the crowd, I would say, but all the members coming out and supporting us, that just always felt good and made it a little bit easier to play.
As a player that's probably seen every inch of this golf course, have you had anybody come up to you, even some of your former USC teammates, and be like, hey, what are the tricks here?
Yeah, absolutely. Some of the German girls have asked me, some of my other friends on tour, what's important to look out for on this golf course. And they did make a few changes that I had to get used to too, that happened after I graduated. And but in general, yeah, I'm able to give out a few tips here and there, but I think that it's kind of a thing of just playing it a bunch and knowing how balls react. I know it's funny, I played a practice round, and I actually hadn't played the course in a while, but it's just so stuck in my memory that I would hit certain shots and I'd be like, oh yeah, you just absolutely cannot be short on this one, or you can't be long here, or it takes a big hop over there. And those are things that I'm actually just kind of relearning again a little bit. So I'm trying to give out as much advice as I can, but not all of it.
What are some of those changes that have been made to this golf course? For a lot of us, we don't know what came before and what we're here now with.
Yeah, so they took out a bunch of trees. The views are just absolutely incredible. What's normally the front nine, we play as a tournament back nine, have number 11, 12. There's some incredible views to the ocean there. They've changed a few of the greens, made them a little bit flatter. They used to be extremely severe, so that's one of the things where I always said, okay, in the college event, you had to be below the hole all the time because they were very severe back to front. They changed a few of those. And like I say, just opened it up a little bit and then changed the stretch around a 6-7, 5-6-7, and just made it maybe, I would say, a little bit more scoreable. I think it might have made it a tiny bit easier, the golf course, but it's just more open, and I think it looks better. I think aesthetically, it's just an amazing golf course now.
Having been here for a few days, obviously seen a lot of the golf course now. I mean, tell us about the conditions out there.
Yeah, I think we had some beautiful days now for practice, and I actually didn't play as much because of that. I'm afraid to play here when it's really warm and nice and no wind, because I know it's going to be different during the tournament. So I actually kind of backed off a little bit and just practiced, played a few holes here and there just to get a feel for it. But I know it's going to be cooling down throughout the middle of the week and towards the end of the week. So I'm trying not to get used to just how far the ball was flying these first few days. But it plays just very, very similar to the way I've always played it. And it's just kind of nice to maybe a couple tee shots, relearn, targets and stuff. But in general, I'm doing the majority of my practice probably today and tomorrow, just leading up into the first round.
Let's talk a little bit about your season. I mean, probably not the fastest start of
Nope.
the fast start that you would want to get off to. But how are you staying mentally tough, and what are you working on to kind of get yourself back into form?
I think mental work, I think, is the key here. I put a lot of work in the last 4 to 6 weeks into my swing and some of the physical things, and I've been playing well. I just haven't figured out a way to score. I think I've had a hard time scoring. I felt like I was moving in the right direction during the JTBC and the Chevron, and I was kind of trending a little bit in the right direction, and then I had a tough 2 weeks, the last 2 weeks, and I think last week had a little bit of that, putting a little bit of pressure on myself, because I know there are a lot of people there that wanted to watch just us SC players or UCLA players, and yeah, I just think it's just 2 or 3 little mistakes that I make during my rounds that have just been very costly, and so I'm working on that. Definitely just my mindset, a little bit of that, because I think just physically my game is actually in a great spot. I just have to figure out a way to kind of push myself a little bit to go lower. And yeah, I just think the conditions the last 2 weeks, it's been extremely windy, gusty. And I think playing at kind of maybe the wrong times during the day or having tough tee times has been just a factor, something that I just had to, I think, just be a little bit harder on myself with, not succumb to the weather conditions and just kind of, power through. But yeah, it's not been the best start, but I think my game's heading in the right direction, and I'm actually pretty excited for these next few weeks.
I think outside of the players, I think we kind of think about golfers when they're high, right? I mean, how do you personally kind of give yourself some grace when you're in kind of, not, I wouldn't say a low spot, but kind of just not where you want to be?
Yeah, it's been quite tough actually these last few weeks. I think I would definitely like to see myself in a different position. I've had some rounds where I feel like, okay, it's definitely heading in the right direction, and this is kind of where I want to see myself more consistently. But I think that I'm just learning for myself to just be a little bit easier on myself. I'm usually someone who's I'm so hard on myself, and then it's really hard to get out of that little dip that you're in. And I just think emotionally and physically to kind of start over a little bit again. And I think I've just decided, you know what, it is what it is. I think you're always going to have weeks and months that are like this. But it doesn't, define you as a player. And so just actually use the weekends to do things that you enjoy and hang out. I've been hanging out with my family and my friends, and I've had a great time off the golf course. And I think that's been important for me, just to not have it completely take over my whole being, and golf is everything. It just really isn't. And I think that's what I'm trying to keep in mind as I go into the next few weeks and into a swing of events that I really, really like.
Awesome. We're going to go to the Zoom. Just a reminder, if you have a question, please indicate in the chat, and I will ask you to unmute your microphone. I believe Steve Eubanks has a question.
Hey, Sophia, I'm sorry not out there with you. Good luck this week.
Hey, Steve.
I'm actually doing a story on the 50th anniversary of Title IX, which is this year. And you are in a very unique position in that you are the daughter of a Title IX mother. And I just wondered what kind of impact it had having a mother who was a college athlete on you becoming an athlete.
A huge impact, actually. My mom was kind of I would say the driving force behind our athletic careers in that sense. I'm still making a career out of it. Both my brothers were athletes. My other brother swam at Arizona. And I think for all of us, I think it was very eye-opening as to what we could do and what we could do in college sports. I don't know if it weren't for her, I'm not sure where my journey from Germany would have gone, because I think most, kids that grow up there, I don't think the first thing that comes to their mind is college sports in the States. So I think for me, it was definitely, she was kind of the driving force behind that. And yeah, she was a swimmer, and she said to me, it's extremely competitive. It's the best stepping stone to becoming a professional athlete, really, and getting a degree at the same time. And I think she was a prime example of going to Stanford, swimming for the team, kind of doing it all. So yeah, she was definitely, that's why she's always kind of been a role model for me in that sense.
Was there a sense that because you had your mother as a role model out there, that it was okay to be an athlete? Whereas some who didn't have that may not have felt the same way.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's more of, it's possible, and you have a good chance. I think that's the thing. Especially when you're coming as an international student, you don't know what are the possibilities that I even have, what is the scholarship situation, how much is it going to be to get me through college. And obviously with Title IX, I think it's been awesome just because there are so many scholarships available to girls. And I think it's very encouraging for a lot of girls coming out of high school to want to pursue a career in sports or athletics starting in college, because now they have this opportunity. It's a way for parents to get their kids through school because, obviously, especially a school that I went to is extremely expensive, but they're all getting very, very expensive, and it's almost impossible without a little bit of financial help. And I think, especially on the women's side, we're lucky enough to have the amount of scholarships that we have, not just in golf, but in all the other sports. So I definitely think my mom was the one who told me about it and said, you know what, it's a possibility. It's a way to get a great education. In my case, I'm lucky for free, which is still mind-boggling to me. And I think it's just a great opportunity for any girl that's going through high school right now.
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah.
And we'll wrap it up with one more question about college. You mentioned you obviously have quite a bit of support from USC, but you also have a bit of support from this membership. How excited are you to have another opportunity at giving them something to cheer for?
Yeah, I'm very, very excited about that. It's just nice to be here and have that little bit of like home field advantage or the feel of coming to a home course. And I just think we're very lucky, I think blessed to have so many events out here actually in LA where a lot of SC supporters are coming and here the membership also. So I'm excited hopefully to, give them a little bit of something to cheer on throughout the weekend and yeah, just to see some familiar faces is really nice.
Good luck this week.
Thank you.
Fight on.
Nuevo Pro SL no tiene clavos, pero tiene un agarre increíble, con una plancha de carbono adicional para optimizar el retorno de energía y un nuevo y moderno diseño. El zapato original de máximo rendimiento sin clavos tiene algunas ventajas importantes.